Hello and welcome to part 2 of how to make a travel video series. In the first part I was talking about different kind of cameras you could buy depending on your budget and what kind of video you want to make, but the thing to remember is you can have the best camera in the world and it doesn't mean shit unless you know how to film. And the analogy I often use is you can own a paintbrush but it doesn't mean you know how to paint. And if you look at like our HK2NY Round the World series that a lot of people love and enjoy and say it's inspired them to travel, we filmed all that with a home video camera. We didn't have any drones or GoPros or anything. It was just that one little Sony Handycam for the entire trip. Now before we dive right in, I should make the obvious point that filming and editing, it's an art form, it's a profession, it's what I do for my career. And there's no way I can teach all of that within like a 10-minute tips video on YouTube. So if you're brand new to filming, I'm gonna put some links in the description to sort of technical things like basic shot composition and rule of thirds and things like that. But for my video, I'm gonna focus less on the technical stuff and more just on storytelling. What shots you need to best tell the story of your travels. So let's dive right in. Now the first thing to bear in mind when you're making a video is who is the video for? Who is the audience? Because if it's just for you, just for your sort of safekeeping and just for your own memories, then you don't have to worry too much about the rules. You'll see a clip and it'll spark off memories and it's fine. So you have a bit of leeway if it's just for friends and family because they know you and they'll want to see what you got to on your trip. But if you want to put your videos on YouTube and have people who've never met you, couldn't give a shit you've been traveling, but to get them to watch it and enjoy it, there's a few more things you have to take into consideration about how to make your videos engaging. So I think the most important tip I can give people when you're filming your trip is that, wherever you go in the world, someone's already filmed it and they've probably filmed it better than you. Whether it's National Geographic or David Attenborough and his Planet Earth crew, someone's filmed it better than you. But no one has ever filmed your journey there. No one's ever told your story, and that's what you got to make the video about, your personal story on that trip. You could be doing the most beaten track place in the world, doing the exact same thing every other backpacker does, but they're not going to have the same reactions as you because you're different to everyone else. Christ, I'm starting to sound like Oprah Winfrey, like you're special, you're unique. But make the video about you. Okay, but how do you film it? And the classic old home video that your parents did, all they would ever do was film the view and talk behind the camera. Kind of like, let's pretend my flat's some beautiful holiday resort and you just arrived. You might just go out and film the view like this.
So we've just landed in the country and made it to our resort. It's quite lovely, and from the balcony here we've got this nice view, and the weather's looking good. So probably go out later on and explore around and have some fun.
But if all you're gonna do is just film a static shot of the view, you may as well just take a photo. Turn the camera around and film yourself. Like, the audience wants to see you and experience the trip through you, so film yourself talking to the camera. Alright, we just arrived in the country, made it to the resort here, and it's pretty lovely actually. And from the balcony here we got a great view, and as you can see the weather outside is pretty awesome, so we're gonna have a little walk around later on and have some fun. But obviously if you're just seeing you talking to the camera the entire time, that's gonna get a bit dull and a bit boring, so that's where your editing comes in. So if you take that exact same dialogue but then cut it with some shots of you arriving and then going out on the balcony and showing the view, and then suddenly the story begins to come to life. Alright, we just arrived in the country, made it to the resort here, and it's pretty lovely actually. And from the balcony here we got a great view, and as you can see the weather outside is pretty awesome, so we're gonna have a little walk around later on and have some fun. So obviously that's not the most exciting sequence ever, but hopefully you can see how it's starting to come alive. So film yourself talking so we can see the reaction on your face and the emotion in your eyes, but obviously film what you're talking about as well. It's no good just going, oh wow, that's the most beautiful mountain I've ever seen. Anyway, no, you've got to show the mountain as well and just cut back and forth between the two in the editing, and that's how your videos start to come to life. Now obviously we're talking to camera, and this is one of the questions I've had from people like Jess and Zebediah. They're asking, is it awkward talking to camera and how do you get used to it? And of course it's awkward at first. It's very awkward to begin with and it takes a bit of time to get used to. One of the things that helps you sort of get used to it is actually when you come to edit and you actually see what bits work and what bits don't, and you kind of learn for next time, not to worry if you fluff something up, because you can just say something again, just cut it, Like for me, I think I do a lot better on camera when I've got someone else filming me, because then I've got their energy to bounce off. Whilst when I'm just filming myself, you know, doing a selfie shot, just talking to the camera, sometimes I struggle with it, and it's sort of hard to sort of come up with that energy. And if you're filming yourself, just try and pretend you're explaining it to a mate, and then hopefully it'll come across more natural. So okay, you're going to talk to the camera, but what do you talk about? Now remember, you can have people watching this video who've never met you and have no idea what you're up to, so you've got to explain where are you, what are you doing, and more importantly, how you feel about it and why. Don't just sort of say, oh, what do you think of this place? Yeah, it's great. Why is it great? What makes it great? What makes it exciting? What makes it bad? You know, show the good and the bad as well about a place. You know, one of the things I often get like people moaning about in the YouTube comments, like, oh, you know, you've been negative about this place. And it's like, well, just because you're on foreign soil doesn't make it good. So be honest, you know, show what the adventure is actually like. Show what you do like, show what you don't, and explain why. And by doing this and explaining how you feel, it makes the video way more engaging. Like, a good example for this is when we did the Nevis bungee in New Zealand. Everyone who does a Nevis bungee usually buys the video afterwards, but the video just has the jump. And actually, that's not what the whole experience is about. The experience with a bungee, in fact the worst bit about the bungee is the build-up. It's like the build-up's excruciating, it's horrible, you're terrified, you don't want to be there.
How are you feeling?
It's the worst idea in the world.
And you don't get that just from the shot of the jump. So you need to film talking to each other, going like, how you're feeling.
I am shaking so much.
Through that you can slowly rank up the tension. So when you actually come to do the jump and it's the same shot everyone else has got, the audience is now really feeling scared with you.
Oh my god!
They have the same emotions that you do when you jump off.
3, 2, 1.
And just for the viewer, it captures what the whole experience is like, rather than just that actual shot of jumping.
I can't even breathe. It's like
So much fun, so much fun.
Now the big activities like bungee jumps are kind of like the obvious things to film on your trip, but some other things to consider capturing are things like the process of traveling, like how do you get from A to B, and you know, how do you sort accommodation and what's that like. You know, try and highlight things that are different to at home or unexpected, because that'll help the audience actually feel like they're there with you. But also one of the things I like to do is sort of show the juxtaposition of some scenarios, like when we were at the Great Wall of China, you know, obviously there's a world famous, beautiful ancient wall, but then right next to it was a subway. People, you know, I always say the best thing about traveling is meeting new people, so try and get as many other people on film as possible. That'll really bring your story to life. And I don't just mean fellow travelers, but locals as well. And I'll talk more in a minute about ways to encourage others to be on camera. Food's another popular one. People always want to see what you're eating out there, and even if, like myself, you're not a big foodie, it's kind of fun just watching me just struggle with different recipes and different ways of eating. And whilst we're on the subject of food, I should also mention drink, specifically alcohol, because there's a fine line with this. It's, you know, it's okay seeing you guys having a drink and having a good time, but full-on drunken footage gets very boring to watch very quickly, because it's all just full of in-jokes and you had to be there. It usually ends up being gibberish and absolute nonsense. And you know, some people might say it's ironic me saying this because you might see us drinking a lot in our videos, but the reality is you're usually seeing us sort of at the start of when we're drinking, not when we're fully drunk. I mean, for example, my recent Philippines video where we did that full day party boat, and yeah, we're drinking throughout the whole day, but that actual sequence, there's only like a 15-second montage of us drinking on the boat, so you get the idea, and then it moves on to me chatting to the local guys and trying out their food. So hopefully that's a few different ideas of other things you can capture on your trip. Next one is a good one from Stuart. He's asking, how do you break the ice when it comes to getting other people involved with the video and getting other people on film? And what I usually do, let's say if I'm doing a group tour, the first evening that I meet the group, I don't have the camera out at all. I'll just chat to them, and obviously it's like, oh, where are you from, what do you do? I'm like, oh, well, I work in video and I'm actually doing this video of the trip. And then, you know, for the first day or two, I might just film myself or the mate I'm with, and then gradually, you can just tell from people's personalities whether they want to get involved or not. You know, get to know them a little bit and see what they're like, and then start filming your own stuff, and then just see if they're up for it as well. But it's just about easing people into it rather than scaring them, going like, hi, nice to meet you, you know. And Carrie here, she's asking about B-roll techniques. Like, I mean, usually if I'm staying in the town a couple of days, like one of the mornings I'll get up, I'll just go wander around the town exploring and get some shots. But generally if you're doing B-roll shots or anything like that, just try and get some movement in the shot. If your shot's just static, it's like I said before, you may as well just take a photo. Try and get something moving, whether it's something moving within the frame or having the camera move itself. Sometimes it's nice to have a still shot, depending on what mood you want to get across, but you know, just try and make it a bit more visually interesting than just, oh, here's the town and that's it. So hopefully that's given you some good ideas and tips to get you on your way with filming your travels. Next time I'm going to be talking about editing all this footage, and that's when your story really comes to life in the edit. So make sure you subscribe, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, check out the t-shirt store, all the usual stuff, and then I'll see you next time. Cheers.